everyone, and welcome. You are watching the WDC national coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. I am Mayan Manzano Garzon, coming to you from Sicklerville, New Jersey. Tonight, we have live updates from several of our correspondents from across the United States, Canada, and Latin America. Nadine Dueñas in Ciudad de Guatemala, Guatemala.
Guatemala tightens presidential measures after a sudden increase of COVID-19 cases.
Thomas Leifness in Edmonton, Alberta.
Canada's top doc recommending face masks for people when they're out in public.
Emilyn Ramos in Washington, D.C. reports about President Donald Trump's address for Cuban Independence. And E.J. Gonzalez in Alexandria, Virginia.
Is rent due? New resources and bills for Virginians.
Myla Simbulan in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania health officials released database of COVID-19 cases at nursing home facilities and will soon begin testing all nursing home staff and residents.
Jane Kathleen Gregorio in Corpus Christi, Texas reports about Texas governor's statement that meatpacking plants, nursing homes, and correctional facilities contribute to the COVID-19 surge. And David Reggio in Oxnard, California.
LA County transitions to phase 2 of reopening, urges Angelenos to wear face coverings in public.
Plus, meet the host of one of EBC's newest online shows, Unfiltered Discussions, and learn how to make paper frogs. But first, an overview of how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Research Center of Johns Hopkins University of Medicine, as of 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday, May 20, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 4,900,000. This includes more than 1,500,000 in the US and more than 81,000 in Canada. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 325,000 lives worldwide. This number includes more than 92,000 deaths in the United States and more than 6,000 in Canada. Our coverage begins now. Guatemala tightens presidential measures after a sudden increase of COVID-19 cases. Eagle News correspondent Nadine Dueñas reports in Ciudad de Guatemala.
Hola, Mayan. Thank you so much. Well, here in Guatemala, during an emergency meeting on May 14, during a press con, President Giammattei informed the new presidential provisions, which were published on the official Gazette or Diario Oficial on May 15. What do the new presidential provisions establish? There's a restriction to strictly stay at home from May 15 to May 18 from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. People can leave their residences only to buy food or medicine. There's also, for them to buy medicine and food, they are only allowed to go out from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. The locomotion, circulation, and transit of inhabitants by road, land, air, and sea are also restricted for any recreational, social, or family trip. Suspension of locomotion and assistance to activities in state entities, executive organisms, and private sectors from May 15 until new presidential provisions are also suspended. As of May 18, all stores and shopping centers are closed and the hours of circulation are restricted from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. within 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. also. On Wednesdays and on Mondays, supermarkets, grocery stores, and neighborhood stores can operate. Cantonal markets, or what we call tiendas de barrio, may operate also, but only from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the same days as supermarkets. But who are allowed to circulate? Only health professionals and technicians, people who are undergoing treatment for chronic or degenerative diseases, media personnel, lawyers who demonstrate conclusively that they are exercising the profession to assist criminal cases for crime or flagrant offense, people who must continue to fulfill their functions in accordance with presidential provisions, and only those who are essential. What services must continue without a closure option? These are hospitals, medical clinics, and health posts, as well as hygiene and cleaning services, water supply, public security, private security and transportation of securities, air navigation services, telegraph and postal telecommunications, national port and airport system, heavy cargo transportation, and also only the food industry and agricultural production. To the date, there are 2,265 COVID-19 cases, 1,822 active cases, 139 recovered cases, and there are 38 deaths. En Ciudad de Guatemala, Nadine Dueñas, Eagle News, vivimos en tiempos interesantes. Back to you, Mayan.
Thank you, Nadine. Given the surge in your COVID-19 cases, now compared to other countries in Latin America, how do you think Guatemala is doing when it comes to dealing with the COVID-19 crisis?
Well, actually, in Guatemala, it is right now the second lowest country with cases of COVID-19 in Latin America. The president actually, he already announced the state of calamity without even having any case yet. And then they started to do the lockdown when they found out that there was a case in March 13. So they are doing pretty well, and also the president is very proactive when it comes to measures so that the COVID-19 cases will not propagate, and also the disease.
Good to know, Nadine. Keep safe.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayan.
Canada's top doctor recommends face mask for people when in public. And Edmonton Eagle News correspondent Thomas Likeness reports.
Good evening, Mayan. Well, I guess I really don't need this because there's nobody else in the studio, but, you know, if I'm out in public and can't maintain physical distance, you know, the 2 meters, then it's time to cover up. That's the advice that was given today by Dr. Teresa Tam. She's Canada's chief public health officer, and she says masks add another layer of safety. This is the first time she's come out and recommended them for everybody that's out in public. Now, they don't protect you from contracting COVID-19, not at all. But what they do is they stop a person from spraying droplets on others if they're coughing or sneezing. So actually, when you wear a mask, you're protecting others. Tam says as provinces ease their public health restrictions across Canada, more and more people are venturing outside. You know, it's summertime. People want to take care of a lot of activities. Her recommendation, she says, is not mandatory. She's leaving it up to the medical health officers in each province to consider, the needs of their areas. Now, you know, a number of countries have made masks mandatory when people are on public transit or crowded areas. I think of places like Japan. You know, in Spain now, everybody over the age of 6, starting tomorrow, has to wear a mask if they're out in public. In Canada, some stores are requiring people to wear masks before you can come inside. And airlines are also making non-medical masks compulsory if you're taking a flight. What about our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau? Does he wear a mask?
When it is possible for me to keep 2 meters distance from people, that is what I prefer to do. In situations where I'm either walking through the halls of Parliament or going to my office and coming in proximity to people, I've chosen to start wearing a mask. I will be wearing a mask as I go into Parliament this afternoon for our in-person sitting. Once I am at my desk in Parliament and 2 meters separate from everyone else, I will take off my mask so I can engage in parliamentary discourse, but as soon as I leave my seat and walk past people and walk through potentially busier hallways, I will be wearing a mask.
Public health officials say even though the curve is flattening, we have to be vigilant, and by doing so, we can buy some time, because we need that time to develop a vaccine, to develop treatments for COVID-19 so it doesn't come back. So now is not the time to be complacent. We don't want a second wave of this infection. In the meantime, I wish you all good health. Take care of others. Take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Thomas. It's great to see that your Prime Minister is being a good example. Now, are Canadians adhering to the recommendation of this Canadian top doctor?
Well, again, she just came out today with this, but I've noticed over the last several days that more and more people, when they're out in public, particularly if they're going grocery shopping, something like that, they are wearing masks. Transit right now, there's hardly anybody riding the buses these days. But yeah, I think more and more people will catch on. Again, as I've said before, it tends to be a cautious country up here. They tend to respect the recommendations given by government or experts contracted by government.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Mayan. Always a pleasure. Hope to see you in the big chair more often.
Thank you, Tom. Now, President Donald Trump addresses the Cuban Independence Day. Emeline Ramos in Washington, D.C. has the story.
Thank you, Mayan. President Donald J. Trump issued a presidential message for Cuban Independence Day. The message, addressing the Cuban people, criticizes the current Cuban government. Trump said, quote, "The United States has historic ties to the Cuban people and remains in solidarity with the millions who have fled the oppression of Cuba's tyrannical regime in search of a new life. Cuba's people deserve a government that promotes individual liberties, basic human rights, and opportunities to prosper. America will keep working with our allies and partners in the Western Hemisphere to bring stability, religious liberty, cooperation, and a freer future to the great people of Cuba." In his message, he also praises Cuban Americans, as I quote, "Today, we celebrate the many contributions of Cuban Americans to our American story, and we pledge to continue working with them to secure a better tomorrow for Cuba." Just yesterday, according to uncubanews.com, the Ministry of Public Health in Cuba reported that it has been 6 days without a death due to COVID-19 and only 6 new infections added. That's definitely good news for them to have on their Cuban Independence Day. Now, as we've probably heard, there has been dam failures and flooding in Michigan. In response to the dam failure in Michigan, President Trump tweeted today, quote, "My team is closely monitoring the flood in central Michigan. Stay safe and listen to local officials. Our brave first responders are once again stepping up to serve their fellow citizens. Thank you." Though President Trump has been at odds politically with the governor of Michigan, he said that he has sent out the best military and FEMA teams to help. It's always our hope that when any calamity or natural disaster occurs, politics would be put aside and help would be given to those in need. Our thoughts and prayers are with those affected by these floods in Michigan. In Washington, D.C., I'm Emeline Ramos, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Mayan.
Thank you, Emeline. Up next, more COVID-19 live updates. Eagle News will return shortly. Stay with us.
Iba't iba man ang pinanggalingan, iisa lang ang pinangahawakan. Ang pangarap na makilala sa kanilang larangan. Mas titindi pa ang performances ng ating mga TNG aspirants dito lang sa pinakabago at pinakamalaking talent competition ng Philippine Television. Ito ang...
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved NutriChops, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa NutriChops. Magnolia Chicken Templados. Delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Food Standard Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cuban, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee. Masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. Participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint. Color for protection for your home. Matimco. Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer. Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandmade Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandmade Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved NutriChunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa NutriChunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News. I am Mayan Manzano Garzon in Secretariat. Is your rent due? There are new resources for Virginians. In Alexandria, Eagle News correspondent EJ Gonzalez reports.
Thanks, Mayan. It is without question that the pandemic has brought serious consequences to many people's sources of livelihood. In fact, the Virginia Employment Commission cited in a press release May 14th, the continued claims for unemployment insurance totaled more than 392,000. Their stats indicate this is an increase of over 4% from the previous week. The more alarming number, however, is when we compare this total to the same week in 2019. The VEC noted that just last year, there were 17,804 continued claims during the second week of May. Now, in 2020, the total was tallied to 392,673 claims. That's a difference of almost 375,000, and more than a 2,105% increase from just 1 year ago. The United States Department of Labor mentioned in a press release the total number claiming benefits in all unemployment programs nationwide for the week ending April 25th was over 25.3 million. Again, alarming numbers when compared to just last year, where the total was 1,659,123. Another huge increase, and an increase of over 1,428%. With so many people being let go from work, a common setback that has been introduced to renters and landlords is the tenant's ability to pay rent. In a press release yesterday, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam shared new resources to protect Virginians from eviction and support those who have lost their jobs or income due to COVID-19. Governor Northam said, quote, "Right now, many Virginians are struggling to make next month's rent or mortgage payments amidst loss in wages due to the pandemic. These resources will help Virginians get the information they need to make decisions and ensure they have access to a safe, stable, and affordable place to live." On April 22nd, Northam signed two important bills approved by the General Assembly to provide more assistance to tenants and mortgage holders. House Bill 1420 caps late fees on rent at 10% of the periodic rent or 10% of the remaining balance due, whichever is the lesser amount. House Bill 340 delays rental evictions or mortgage foreclosures during emergencies to those who are not protected through the Federal CARES Act or state and local protections. With a stay-at-home order being enforced to help slow the spread of the coronavirus, it's then pretty important to have a place to keep shelter. With these resources and bills introduced by the state government, Virginians facing economic suffering have new tools to keep themselves and their families safe. In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, EJ. You know, it's always great to see our public officials thinking of the interest of the people. Now, for the tools that are available to mortgage holders, what are they? And so that the tenants can get more information about this issue.
Yeah, so one of the tools introduced by the governor is the online website, www.stayhomevirginia.com. This resource is for mortgage holders and tenants that offers guidance on working with landlords and financial institutions. The new tools were created in collaboration with the Virginia Housing Development Authority, who has committed $12 million to assist over 200 nonprofit housing organizations.
Thank you for the information, EJ. Now, Pennsylvania health officials releases database of COVID-19 cases at nursing home facilities. Myla Simbulan in Swarthmore has the story.
Thanks, Mayan. Nursing homes in Pennsylvania has been hit hard by the pandemic. They have struggled for months to contain the virus, with many lacking the trained staff, testing supplies, and personal protective equipment. There are now 50 nursing homes that have reported 20 or more deaths. In order for the families of those who have loved ones residing in long-term care facilities be informed of the latest information when it comes to COVID-19, Wolf administration released the number of COVID-19 cases for both the staff and residents. Let's hear it from Pennsylvania Health Secretary, Dr. Rachel Levine.
In the field in Pennsylvania. As I have said, long-term care facility residents are among the most vulnerable Pennsylvanians with the global pandemic of COVID-19. And we want their families to have the latest information on what is going on in the facilities where their loved ones reside. I have mentioned before, it is actually the responsibility of the facility to keep families informed. But today we are also posting on our website data on the number of resident cases, number of staff cases, and number of deaths at facilities regulated by both the Department of Health and the Department of Human Services.
The data provides the number of residents and employees who are infected and the number of deaths that have occurred at every facility. Since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Commonwealth has focused on a plan with three major pillars in order to protect the vulnerable residents living in long-term care facilities. The approach includes the following: ensuring safety of residents through education, resources and testing, preventing and mitigating outbreaks, and working hand in hand with state agencies, local health departments, and long-term care facility operators. As part of this approach, the health department plans to test all patients and staff in Pennsylvania's long-term care facilities, both nursing homes and personal care homes. Also in Pennsylvania, Secretary of Agriculture Russell Redding wrote to the Pennsylvania congressional delegation for urgent support of the state's agriculture and food industries that has been continually operating to sustain the needs of the people of Pennsylvania despite the risk and uncertainty brought by COVID-19 pandemic. Let's hear it from him.
While the industry needs support for their work, they also need support for their well-being. No one understands the word uncertainty better than the farmer. They put nature in motion each season, planting or calving, and then respond to the forces beyond their control. But there is uncertainty that is too much. We can't let the stressors of today's environment bring our life-sustaining industry to its breaking point. We need funding and resources for mental health services, for the agriculture and food sectors through any of the federal stimulus programs, funding for telehealth initiatives to improve care for our rural communities by connecting them with medical professionals across Pennsylvania and ensure that they have access to the best care when they need it most.
He urged the Congress for support through the next federal stimulus. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Myla Simbulan, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Myla. I just have one question. How do you think the data of COVID-19 cases at nursing homes help both the residents and their families?
I think the data will give the families of the residents idea on what's happening inside the nursing homes, and they will be more vigilant and cautious, especially if they need to visit their loved ones. The data will also be useful for those who live around the area so that they will be cautious as well. It will protect both the residents and those around them.
Correct. Thank you, Myla. Now, Texas governor states meatpacking plants, nursing homes, and correctional facilities contribute to the COVID-19 surge. Our Texas Bureau Chief Jane Kathleen Gregorio has the story.
Thank you, May Ann. Here in the Lone Star State, Governor Greg Abbott announced on Monday that Texas will continue to ramp up its testing capabilities and will target the most high-risk areas, which are nursing homes, meatpacking plants, and jails. He stated that the surge response teams will be immediately deploying resources and supplies to these high-risk areas to identify and isolate the positive cases, which is a strategy being deployed in Amarillo. Now, over the past weekend, COVID-19 tests that were conducted on May 4th at several meatpacking plants in the Amarillo region came back over the weekend, resulting in 700 positive cases of COVID-19. Therefore, the government stated that plants with widespread outbreaks will be temporarily shut down for thorough disinfection. Individuals with a positive test who cannot otherwise isolate are offered area hotels, and the Texas Department of Health Services is maintaining an alternate care site for patients that do not require hospitalization. Furthermore, the governor is sending an additional allotment of remdesivir, the antiviral medication, to the Amarillo area. Counties that have experienced surges in COVID-19, such as El Paso, Randall, Potter, Moore, and Duff Smith, will have their beginning date of Phase 2 delayed until May 29th. Surge response teams are actively working with these areas to increase testing, maintain hospital capacity, and ensure that COVID-19 is contained and mitigated. In Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Mia?
Thank you for that report, Kathleen. I just have one question. With the meat packing industry reduced in their workforce or output in Texas, what do you think might happen to the meat market in the land of barbecue and steaks?
Well, Anne, that's a really good point because Texas is the center for great steaks and barbecue. For sure, as well as a variety of Mexican food. There is a chance, in fact, it has been discussed in other news outlets as well as among customers, among people that I know, that people here are concerned that meat prices might go up. And you may have to sacrifice getting that slice of, or that cut of steak or those barbecue ribs, for a higher premium, or if you can't afford it, you may have to go vegetarian or at least look into some other sources of protein. In fact, I have here with me a Texas resident of Corpus Christi, Cecilia Diaz. She's actually a foodie. Hi, Cecilia.
Hi.
Cecilia, tell us about how you feel regarding the prospect that, with the meatpacking plants having to close temporarily because of the COVID-19 issue. How would you feel if prices would go up regarding meats and steaks and ribs?
I think it'll definitely affect Texas a lot just because that is the major thing down here, barbecue. People love to barbecue on the weekends. The price going up will also affect the people who have lost their jobs as well. I actually went to the grocery store earlier and the whole beef section was wiped out. There was only some pork, because I guess there's a lot of people who don't really eat a lot of pork, but the entire beef section and chicken section was completely emptied. So it's already starting to show.
Are the grocery stores putting signs limiting the amount of beef a person can buy?
Yes. Now that they have the aisles that are all wiped out, I discussed with one of the Walmart employees today, and they said that they were going to start limiting one per person or per family. They haven't established a protocol yet, but it's something that they're looking into.
Thank you, Cecilia. And there you have it from Texas resident Cecilia Diaz regarding the meat situation in Texas. And we're hoping that it's not going to become a scarcity here in the Lone Star State. Mayanne?
Thank you, Kathleen and Cecilia. I hope that you guys find an alternative that is as good as your barbecues and steaks. Now the Los Angeles County transitions to phase 2 of reopening and strongly urges Angelenos to wear face coverings when out in public. In Oxnard, we have David Reggio for the details.
Thank you so much, man. Los Angeles County recently transitioned to phase 2 of its roadmap to recovery. With more people going back to the workforce and into society, one reminder all Angelenos are urged to remember is to always use a face covering while in public. Whether it be going to the grocery store, hiking, or walking our pets, Los Angeles residents are reminded to wear a mask when interacting with those who are not in their immediate household. It's a sign of respect. Mask up. #BYOM or bring your own mask. The Los Angeles County Public Health Department provided residents with quick tips on how to properly utilize the wearing of face coverings while in public. Some tips to effectively wear face coverings are tying ties or loops so it's snug around our face without any gaps, or to ensure and it covers from the bridge of our nose all the way down to our chins. Some of the things to avoid are leaving our chins or nose exposed, wearing the face coverings loosely with on the sides, or having the face coverings rest under our chins. One very important tip also mentioned by the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health is to always remember to wash our hands prior to putting on our face coverings, and to make sure to avoid touching our mouth, nose, and eyes while removing them. In Los Angeles County, the number of new cases increased with 1,324 newly reported cases and 57 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in the county are now 40,857 with 1,970 deaths as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, Ventura County is also in the second stage, following the recovery map and plan as outlined by California Governor Gavin Newsom. The county currently has 837 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 28 deaths. With its low number of confirmed cases and deaths compared to other counties in California, the county officials prepared and submitted a plan to the state governor and stated that the county met the state guidelines for accelerated stage 2 reopening. Today, Ventura County tweeted, "The County of Ventura is the first and largest Southern California county to be approved by accelerated reopening from the state. Restaurants will be able to offer modified dine-in options for customers. More details are to come." In Oxnard, California, David Reggio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back
Thank
to
you,
ma'am.
David. You mentioned that modified dine-in options are in the works for restaurants in Ventura County. Is it something that you're looking forward to?
Yes, it's glad that you mentioned that because I personally am a foodie myself. So when I heard this about going back and having possibly being able to, and it was really good news for me. In the past, I would always order takeout or delivery, and in time it was really good, but eventually it didn't really come toward me. So it's something about dining in and going back to restaurants, especially with your friends and family, that make you feel more alive and more outgoing. But at the same time, we are minding and we'll adhere to proper safety precautions while having a great time.
Thank you, David. When we come back, meet the host of one of EBC's newest online shows, Unfiltered Discussions. We will return shortly. Stay with us. This is Eagle News.
Hello, my name is Robin, and I'm 5 years old. My mom and dad said many people are getting sick. That is why we have to stay at home. That is why I cannot go to school. I cannot play outside, and I cannot even visit my friends. We can only go outside if we visit the doctor, or if we need to buy some food. And when we get home, we have to wash our hands. While I'm at home, I do my homework, clean up my toys, help cooking our food, and help my parents with their work. Please stay home so we can all play together again. Bye!
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News. I am Mayan Manzano Garzon in Sicklerville. Our special guest tonight is one of our own, Frendel Fejeran. She has recently joined the EBC family and now has an online show called Unfiltered Discussions. To tell us more about this show, let us welcome Frendel. Hi, Frendel. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, May. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So we heard you have an online show, a new online show. Let's get right into it. What is Unfiltered Discussions about?
So Unfiltered Discussions, like you said, it's a new online show where people come together, and not just ordinary people, but people that work, their careers and, have a family of their own. And it's pretty much where we have a healthy discussion, unfiltered, and we learn that we can actually pick up so many gems on how we can overcome our own challenges in life and how we can balance and manage our life. Because there's just like so many things happening, right? There's like chaos. Sometimes it can feel like a chaotic day, but just having these discussions helps us really kind of dissect the challenge and make us think deep on how we can overcome these things to where we have that sense of management and balance in our time and quality time with our family.
That sounds really great and very timely, Frendel. Now, what could a viewer expect from your show?
So the viewers could expect just that, but not only to hear of others' challenges, but the viewers they're going to be able to see themselves in the guests on the show, because we are talking to healthcare providers, we're talking to entrepreneurs, we're talking to teachers, community relation officers, contract specialists. And just because you have your careers, these guests have their careers, they also have a family, just like a viewer would, and so what's pretty amazing is that we realize that just because you might have a different background, we have a different upbringing, we have different family dynamics, we all kind of go through the same challenges. So it's exciting to see how we face them. So the viewers, they'll be able to kind of see like, hey, I could actually try that out, or, things like that.
That's right, Frendel. It's always nice to have a show where you can relate to, right?
Right.
Now, what is your aim per show? Is there a goal for every episode that you make?
There is definitely a goal, definitely a purpose. With these EBC online shows, every show there is an objective, a vision, and a mission. And for Unfiltered Discussions, it's really to provide a safe space for individuals to express what they feel inside that they may not be able to express to their spouse or to their family. But for some reason on this show, we kind of let loose and, very casual and, as if we're just talking in a circle, a circle of your very close friends, not even close friends, but we just feel very comfortable to say what's on our mind. And the purpose there is not only to provide that safe space for our guests, but to tell our guests, on the show that your story could really inspire others, because there's so many people out there that just don't know how to articulate how they feel. They don't know what to do. Sometimes they feel like they're alone. But watching these individuals on our show will assure them that, hey, I'm not alone. I got that same issue with my spouse. Dude, like I can really benefit from this show. So we're hoping that all the viewers can gain not only entertainment, but, things and inspiration to help them in their own life.
Frendel, I can already imagine that watching your show is like talking to my best friend or one of my girlfriends. Now, how many episodes have you done so far, Frendel?
So just this evening, we premiered our 4th episode. So every week, we're expecting to release and premiere new episodes on a weekly basis. We're in season 1. And so the focus is essentially on how to how we are all managing our time in these interesting.
Great topic. Now, with that 4 episodes that you've already made, that you've already aired, is there a favorite episode and why?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I think every episode is my favorite, only because every episode there's a different yet same dynamic between all 4.
Right.
But for example, the first episode, the commonality that our guests had, they're all nurses, and we could all relate as healthcare providers, as I'm in the healthcare field as well. And so our inside jokes, though we kind of can see things on a different level. In the second episode, we spoke to an educator, a contract specialist, a community relations officer, and we're all dealing with working with our spouses at home, spending more time with our husbands. And, so that was really fun to kind of talk behind our husband's back,
I would have enjoyed that episode.
Yes, you should check it out, May, episode 2. And
I
then
will definitely binge watch your episodes after this.
That's right.
Now,
Sessions marathon for everyone.
That's true. Now, Frendel, from the 4 episodes that you've already aired, what have you gathered so far in the first season of the Unfiltered Discussion? What are the tactics or strategies that you have learned from all of your guests and all of the interviews that you've done?
I love that question, May. Thank you so much. So what I've learned is, again, we face different obstacles. And one of the main things that allowed everyone to overcome these obstacles is developing a higher level of communication with your family. You're able to verbally express without hesitating. You know what, this is really not working out. You're in my space. I can't do my work. We have to work something out. And so communication is key. And not only that, I've learned that during these times, working from home, spending more time with your family, and spending more time with yourself, you're discovering who you are as an individual, and you're redefining your love with your family, or with your spouse, or with what you do, And the tactics is pretty much the communication, and just working it out. You have to talk. That's like key in everything. And what I've learned from our guests is that when your communication is there, your relationship is fortified, and when you have a good relationship, you all the more can juggle all the things that are thrown at you.
Frendel, it's so nice to see how you're having fun doing this and learning at the same time, because those are really great, valuable takeaways from your episodes and from your guests. Now, what inspired you to come up with this show? What was the idea or the inspiration behind it?
Another great question, May. You're so amazing. So the inspiration behind this is really, how do we look at challenges? What is your perspective on life? If you see and pick out all the positives and always have that growth mindset, you can achieve anything, and the idea of the show is to always look at how to overcome and not to live in the challenge, not to beat yourself that, oh my gosh, I can't accomplish this. I can't get through him. I can't do this with my children. I'm tired of work. Yeah, it's there, but don't live there, right? What's the positive? What are the positives in those situations? It's really to train our minds to be more optimistic, because we need more positive vibes in the world, May. So we're hoping that this show can help bring that out in people.
I agree, Frendel, and thank you for spreading good vibes through this show, the Unfiltered Discussions. Now, give us the details, Frendel. When and where can we watch Unfiltered Discussions?
We can watch Unfiltered Discussions on the Eagle News YouTube channel, and it's every Tuesday or Wednesday night, depending where you are in the world.
All right, so I guess I'll see you on your Wednesday episode. Thank you, Frandel. More power to your show, and we look forward to meeting more interesting people in your future episodes.
Thank you so much, May.
Coming up, we will learn how to make jumping paper frogs. Yes, you heard that right. Paper frogs. This is Eagle News.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News. I am May and Manzano Gerzon in Sicklerville. EBC friend Arian Andrade will show us step by step how to make these super cute and very entertaining jumping paper frogs.
Origami jumping frogs. Start off with a square sheet of paper. Fold it in half and fold that half in half again. Unfold it and fold the top square in half. Unfold that and bring in one of the corners to the center crease, like so. Unfold it and do the same thing with the other corner. For this next part, I advise you fold the front backwards so it's easier to do a mountain fold. For a mountain fold, you want to push in one of the sides, making somewhat of a triangle. Do the same thing with the other side, making a triangular shape. You then want to take the two corners and fold them up, making the front legs of your origami frog. Then, fold this part up to the center crease, like so. Then, fold the legs to one side so it's easier. You want to bring it and fold it in half to the center. Unfold the legs and move them to the other side, and do the same thing you did before. So it looks like this. After that, you want to fold up the corners, like so. Once you have that, fold it up to where the front legs are. Pinch both sides and pull gently. Then fold them both down so both face downwards. Next, fold the corners up, making the back legs of your origami jumping frog. Turn it over and fold your frog in half, like so. Once you've done that, you want to try to fold that half in half. The paper may be tough at this point, but try your best so you can get your frog to jump. After that, you have an origami jumping frog. It should work. At this point, you can add eyes, a face, personalize it, and then push down and release. And now you have an origami jumping frog. From Santa Clarita, California, it's Ariane Andrade. Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Ariane. Very cute indeed. I'm sure my baby Sandra would love those. I'm going to try to make one myself. A few reminders before we end today. Wash your hands often with soap and water. Cover your mouth and nose if sneezing or coughing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Avoid contact with sick people. If you are sick, stay home and call your healthcare provider. Practice social distancing. Keep distance between yourself and others and avoid crowds. And lastly, very protective face covering when out in public. Let's continue to take our frontline and essential workers with a round of applause. We appreciate you. That is today's EBC International coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for joining us. I am Mayan Manzano Garzon. We live in interesting times.